Welcome to the channel of PACIFIC414. Show us this loyalty. Throw yourself onto the subscribe button and submit yourself to the live streams, gaming streams, and so much more. Pathetic earthlings, I command you. Welcome to the channel of PACIFIC414. Show us this loyalty. Throw yourself onto the subscribe button and submit yourself to the live streams, gaming streams, and so much more. Pathetic earthlings, I command you.
Warning, due to adult language and humor, the following content may not be suitable for any viewers under the age of 18. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. The views and opinions expressed during the following live stream or video content are those of the individual and may not reflect those of others. Thank you. Good evening and welcome one and all to PACIFIC414 Pop Talk. This will be my live reaction and review of The Last of Us season finale. Look for the light. The episode has not started yet. You can also consider this a watch party if you want to. But I have done these types of live streams for shows like Chucky, shows like The Orville, and I've had a lot of fun doing it, so I thought, you know what, I might as well go ahead and do it for The Last of Us to give my overall thoughts on the first 8 episodes. Well, there were some things I liked. I liked episode 3 more than I thought I would. I liked the first episode more than I thought I would. And every other episode since has averaged either a 6 or a 5 out of 10 ever since. So I am just waiting for the episode to become available on HBO Max so I can start viewing it along with everybody else. And as you see there, I do have the spoilers warning up there on the screen because I'm more than likely going to say what's happening on the screen as the episode is going on. And a lot of people might be a little ticked off if I don't have the warning up. But, At least it's a warning. At least you know now that there are going to be major spoilers for this episode once it begins. Just once again, waiting on HBO Max to make it available. And, I have done a little bit of, yeah, you could say that it was research, and I've checked to see what happens in the game, at least the first game is concerned, and I am interested to see how closely this last episode of season 1 will end up following the, the end of the game, or how far it'll deviate from the end of the game. And I'm just refreshing it, and it's still not showing up. And it might just take a few minutes for HBO Max's systems to update. But yeah, the series, I wasn't really sure what to expect from it when I first heard about it, having not played the games before. However, I just thought to myself, you know what? I'm going to give this series a chance. Who knows? I might end up liking it and might actually give it glowing reviews. But so far, the show overall, in my opinion, has just been average at best. What I've seen in the game is a lot more interesting, and the characters are definitely more likable. And of course, when it comes to Joel and Ellie, you're given a reason to care about those two characters and the predicament that they are in, along with everybody else. I haven't really been given a reason to care about Joel and Ellie in this series. Yes, we know that Ellie is immune to the virus, but I don't know. I don't know how hard is it for the writers and producers of the series to follow what happened in the game. Even for those of us who haven't played the game, who are able to, look on YouTube, for example, and see what happens in the game and try to compare it to what happens in the show. It shouldn't be too hard. It should be a simple copy and paste. Yeah, you might leave out a couple things here, a couple things there, or add to something that was in the game in the live action version, but to completely ignore some parts that are crucial to the game, like Joel and Ellie's development, and as far as their relationship is concerned, becoming a surrogate family, it just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all. And at some point, yes, I do plan on playing the game. I will play it, I will stream it, but I have to finish a few other games first before I end up doing that. As I am currently in the process of playing Mega Man 11, and I do want to finish playing that, completing that, and then, of course, at some point, go back to Hogwarts Legacy, go back to playing God of War, the PS4 God of War game that is, and also finish up Arkham Knights at some point. So again, and just refreshing my screen, waiting for HBO Max to update the episodes because nothing is happening. I double checked earlier today. I'm even double checking as I'm speaking right now to make sure that the episode is supposed to be airing tonight. I mean, with it being a streaming service, it's not like network TV where they'll skip a few weeks or go on hiatus. You have a couple months where there aren't any new episodes, but nothing's popping up on HBO Max yet. And if you don't believe me, I can share my screen. There it goes. Just took it a while. So, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Wow. This episode is only 43 minutes long. That counts the opening credits and ending credits. Not very long. That's just like episode 4. That was a very short episode. Well, here we go. And again, and I'm going to go ahead and skip this ad and get right into the episode. Okay. We're getting a recap. Of course, we get episode 1. Yep. So, obviously, just like the game, we're definitely going to run into Marlene in this episode, especially with the way they're presenting the recap. Yeah, right now we're just getting a general recap of episodes 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and skip the recap uh, and get straight to the episode. And we will find out whether I like it or not. All right. So right now we're getting a pregnant woman running through the woods. And she is being chased by the fungi. The fungi zombie, as I've called them before. And she is running as fast as she can. And experiencing contractions as well. Running through an open field toward a house. She gets in the house. And yes, I am going to be doing it as commentary. So again, heed the spoiler warning. And hello, Brandon Looney Tunes fan 2000. She's having more labor contractions, and her water just broke as she's going up the stairs. And now she's trying to get into a room. And she's trying to barricade the room with a chair. And she has gone into labor. And she's got a knife. And the funky zombie has broken into the house and now it's banging on the door. And she's trying to fight off the zombie, trying to get the knife that she just dropped. And she just killed it. And Phil McCracken says, "Oh my God, am I late? Is this to save the Star Wars stream? Where be Moses? No, Phil, this isn't save the Star Wars stream. This is my live reaction. Then it will be a review of The Last of Us season 1, episode 9. Look for the light." And of course, the woman's realized she just been bitten. And she's holding her newborn baby. Really, the only chance this woman's gonna have now that she's been infected with the fungus virus before she herself becomes a fungus zombie. Uh huh. The plot thickens. I will let you all know when I do the review part. Certain parts I will not reveal until I'm doing the actual review. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead and blame it on Cash. That's easy to do. All right. So a very, I'll admit it, very intense opening. Let's see how the rest of the episode is. And I'm not gonna spoil everything with commentary. I'll keep myself quiet for a little bit. But we do have some men going up to a door. Men and women. Yep. They discovered the empty house. Shattered glass from the window. Going upstairs. Okay, we found out the character's name is Anna. And everybody is in shock. All right, now we know how Ellie got the switchblade. Hmm. Oh, wow. Dude, you were told to cover her ears. Why didn't you cover her ears? Now we know why Marlene cared about Ellie so much. Yep, we now have an answer. All right, so they are headed to the hospital like they were in the game. What's up, Brandon? And I am watching the season finale of The Last of Us and giving a live reaction with some commentary here and there. And at first, I was going to come and take through the whole episode, but no, plans have changed, and I'm only going to comment on things that I need to comment on, and then I will discuss the episode afterwards. So Ellie and Joel are walking through an abandoned alleyway after walking through an abandoned highway. Yes, Brandon, I am aware of the two shout out videos that you gave me, and I thank you for both of them, both in the comments and when I've seen you on the channel. Now Joel and Ellie are walking through an abandoned building that was under construction. Joel and Ellie are looking for a few things. Ellie's looking at some plans for the building. Now, Joel's giving Ellie a boost to get a ladder. Whoa. Well, this is from the game. They are feeding the giraffe like they did in the game. But of course, Ellie has to curse every other word she says. Now Joel is following Ellie. Now Joel and Ellie are talking while looking at the giraffes. There's always something bad out there when it's a show like this. Joel wants to go back to Tommy's. Ellie wants to continue on. Hmm. She says she'll follow Joel wherever he wants to go. And now they're continuing on. They're looking for the hospital. Well, that may have been a hospital at one point, but it isn't now. Hmm. More backstory. So Joel is willing to delete himself after Sarah died. Hmm. Very interesting exchange here. And Ellie is reading her joke book or her puns. Uh oh. I guess that area wasn't abandoned after all. Ooh. Okay. That's a warm greeting. Yeah, giving someone a concussion, that's always a nice greeting. And now Joel's coming too. Oh, look who it is. Hmm. Very interesting. If you're watching the episode alone, feel free to comment. Uh, all right. Joel's getting his ass kicked. Hmm. Marlene proclaims that she's the only one that understands what it's like to care for Ellie. And now Marlene's giving her guys instructions on what to do with Joel. Now let's see how closely it follows the game here. Or where it deviates. How would you like to be walking down a flight of stairs with two guys carrying guns behind you? Not a very fun feeling. Ooh, okay. He's gone. And so's his pal. Now, Joel, do you really think you're going to be able to just mosey on back in there? Yes, he does. And now we're getting the shootout. I love how the music gets loud and everything else is inaudible. He surrendered. Joel says, I don't care. Oh, there's another one down. Joel's a one-man army. And now Joel's finding out where Ellie's at. And if you're there lurking, feel free to say hello. And Joel has found Ellie. Oh, that followed the game. So long. Yep. Now let's see if Marlene shows up like she did in the game. And Ellie is out cold due to the anesthesia. Okay, this is where Marlene should be. Okay, this is following the game. All right. Okay, that followed the game. And what are you going to tell her, Joel? Oh, actually, told her yes. Hmm. I don't think you're going to like the answers to that one, there, Ellie. All right. Why couldn't they have done this throughout the whole series? It would have been easy. Hmm. Yep. That followed the game too. Again, why couldn't they have done this from the beginning? It wouldn't have been that hard. Like I said last week, simple copy and paste. Well, they're back in Wyoming. All right, that happened in the game too. Now Joel's telling Ellie a story about Sarah. Hmm. Joel's pretty much telling Ellie right now that Ellie and Sarah could have been friends. Well, they're seeing the settlement. Okay, this is following the game too. Oh, why couldn't they have done this from the beginning? The only episode that had done it from the beginning was episode 1, and everything else deviated. But why couldn't they have done this? There's only 2 episodes that I'm seeing that even follow the game. I mean, if they could do the music from the game, they could have just copy and pasted the rest of it. How hard would that have been? So, episode 1 and episode 9, in my opinion, from what I've seen from the game itself and from the series, are the only 2 episodes to follow the game to the letter. All right, so let me set up everything so I can show it to you when I get ready to do the review portion here. All right, let me try to get a good screenshot here. Let's see. That's not good enough. So let's go back a little further. All right. Let's see. This will have to do. This will have to do. All right. So this is the review portion. And I'm not going to dwell on things too long. But the episode opens up with a woman running through a field, running through the woods, and she's trying to escape the fungi zombie. This woman's name is Anne. She ends up running to an old house on some farmland where she goes upstairs, and as she's going upstairs, she breaks water and ends up going into a room and giving birth to a young baby Ellie. Meanwhile, that fungi zombie, and that's what I've been calling them, that fungi zombie ends up getting into the house, breaking through a window, and gets upstairs. And unfortunately, the chair that Anne had up against the door wasn't good enough to keep the zombie from getting out. So it gets into the room that Anne is in, just as Anne gives birth to Ellie and cuts the umbilical cord and ends up biting her. Ends up biting Anne. So Marlene comes back with one of the guys from a patrol. They see the shattered glass. They go upstairs and they see Anne. They see the dead fungi zombie. And again, I've been calling them that from the beginning. But they see Anne with baby Ellie and the dead fungi zombie. And Anne says, I need you to do something for me. I need you to take care of Ellie. And of course, they also notice that Anne's been bit on her right leg. And Anne says, this happened after I cut the umbilical cord. And Anne asks Marlene to take care of Ellie. And she also asks Marlene to shoot her dead. So Marlene ends up doing that after saying, no, she won't do it. And then we get to present day. Ellie is sitting in the back of the bed of a truck. Joel's gone through a camper. He's found a game. He's found some Chef Boyardee. And Ellie and Joel are talking, and we're getting a little bit more information here as far where they're going, and they're hoping to find the hospital sometime soon. They end up getting into a building that was under construction during the whole start of the outbreak, and Joel makes a remark that the Air Force was sent in to bomb this particular area. Of course, they ended up missing their target. And when they get into this building, as they're looking around, Joel notices that on the next floor, there's a ladder. So he boosts Ellie up to get the ladder. And Ellie ends up dropping the ladder because she sees something. She sees something that she's never seen before, and she gets to see it up close. What does she get to see? Let me try to scoot it back here. She sees the giraffe. So this is definitely from the game. And Joel and Ellie start feeding the giraffe some leaves, and Ellie thinks it's cool. And of course, we also get a wide shot of the area, and there are other giraffes. And then Ellie goes running off, and Joel goes chasing after her. And this is where we get the wide shot. And of course, they get to the edge of this rooftop area, and they remark at the view and the scenery. And of course, Ellie and Joel know that they have one thing to do. And Ellie says, I couldn't have done this without you, and you couldn't have done this without me. Without each other, we wouldn't have survived. So they are talking, and they continue on their journey looking through the hospital, and they stumble upon an old Army emergency hospital setup. And Joel starts telling Ellie a little bit more history, that it's not Fedra, it's the Army. There's a difference. The Army set up these medical stations within a few days when the virus first broke out. And of course, this one obviously didn't survive. And Ellie, after Joel says, you know what, I could use one of those bad puns right about now. I could use one of those bad jokes. So she pulls out the joke book and starts reading the joke. As you can see here, people are making apocalypse jokes like there's no tomorrow. And Joel's rating those jokes. And as they're walking, some men in uniform with guns come up behind them. They throw a smoke grenade. It goes off. They knock out Joel. They end up dragging away Ellie. And when Joel comes to, he comes to inside the hospital. And guess who's there? Marlene's there. And she can't believe that Joel and Ellie were able to make it all the way from Boston to Colorado and survive. She makes a remark that she took a team with her, and there were 5 men that were supposed to protect her on their way, and she lost some of those guys on her way. So Joel demands to see Ellie. Marlene says, I can't let you do that. And I can't let you do that because we don't need any trouble. And Ellie is also part of the cure because the cordyceps in her blood are what are preventing her from becoming infected. And they need to harvest those cordyceps so they can develop a cure and distribute it to everyone else. At least that's what Marlene says. And of course, Joel starts to go out of the room and is hit in the gut with the butt of the gun. And Marlene tells 2 of her guys to escort Joel out of the building. And if Joel were to give, excuse me, if Joel were to give those 2 men any trouble, to shoot him. And of course, as they're walking along, Joel's looking at the different signage to see what floor different, pediatric surgery and, ICU and all that are in this particular hospital. And of course, the men tell him, "Who told you to stop?" And they continue on. Joel and the guys get down to some stairs where Joel stops and ends up punching one guy and taking his gun, and he ends up shooting both guys and killing both guys. He grabs a couple of their weapons and he goes on a killing spree as he goes throughout the hospital, gets rid of this guy, goes into another room, gets rid of another guy. There's a firefight on the way into pediatric surgery where Ellie is, and they're getting ready to perform procedure to get the cordyceps. And Joel ends up getting into the room, and the doctor says, "You can't come in here. Somebody stop him." Of course, Joel shoots him dead, just like in the game. And he tells one of the nurses to unhook Ellie and then put a bandage over where they had the IV. And Joel takes her out of surgery and into an elevator. They get down into the parking structure of the hospital where Marlene is. And Marlene says, "Let her go. And if you are serious about this, you do realize that she is the cure. She's the key to everybody surviving. And you can't protect her for the rest of your life because eventually you're going to grow old and she will either go on her own, or as you can see here, she can be torn apart by the infected or murdered by raiders." So Joel ends up going into this vehicle, and that's just like the game. He checks on Ellie by using the rear view mirror, and Ellie's slowly coming to as drugs are wearing off. And just like in the game, Joel did end up shooting Marlene and killing her because he can't have Marlene or anyone else coming after him or Ellie for that matter. So Ellie asks about Marlene, and Joel lies to her and says that she's okay. And then, of course, we see what actually did happen. Joel's standing there. Marlene is begging to be spared free. Where Joel shoots her, we get an aerial shot of the vehicle that they're in traveling down the highway before, just like in the game, the vehicle eventually breaks down and they have to head back to the settlement in Wyoming on foot. So it's going to be a 5-hour hike for the two of them. And this is where we get information as far as Joel saying that his daughter Sarah and Ellie probably would have become friends. That Sarah would have liked her, and that Sarah and Ellie are similar yet different. So they're talking, and they finally get to the settlement, and this is where they stop, and Ellie tells Joel about Riley and says that, Riley and her were in the mall. They got infected, and Riley said, "We can just wait it out." Well, Ellie says there's more to the story. And this is actually where she lets Joel know that this is where she first had to kill somebody when Riley became infected, and she turned and she unfortunately had to kill her. Which in the game, I thought it had a lot more depth to it, and a lot more purpose to it. When they did it in the actual show, I didn't think it had much purpose, but it ends with Ellie telling Joel that we need to survive. And, when you're in that predicament, you don't know what to do next. That's pretty much how the episode ends. And this episode, just like the first one, actually followed the game more closely. And there's some, yeah. There might have been some differences. I didn't really notice them too much to say, oh yeah, this was different, that was different. But as far as this episode's concerned, I really liked it. I really thought it was good. And the main reason being because it followed the game's story. That's all you have to do if you're going to adapt a game into a TV show is follow the game's story as closely as possible, especially a game like The Last of Us. Even if you were to make a movie out of this, you should be able to follow the game fairly closely. It's not that hard. It's like I said last week, it's not like you have to look at a 10-foot CGI monster. No, it's not that hard to follow the plot of a game when it's laid out in front of you. The roadmap's already there. And in 2 out of the 9 total episodes are the only 2 episodes that actually followed the game. That's inexcusable. In the game, Ellie actually met Bill. And in the game, Tommy and Joel weren't as bitter toward one another as they were in the game. So I just don't understand why it was so hard for the producers of the show with Naughty Dog there in the wings to follow what happened in the game. I don't get it. Why is it that there's only 2 episodes of this entire series that actually follow the game the way the game presented everything? And it's not like it was based on a game like Super Mario Brothers, where you can understand where it would be difficult to translate certain things that happen in the game into live action. No, this game, The Last of Us, pretty much takes place in the real world, and it shouldn't be that hard. It shouldn't be that difficult. Like I said, copy and paste. Copy and paste. And hello there to Janet from another planet. How are you doing this evening? I'm just going on a little bit of a rant as to why was it so hard for the live action television series based on The Last of Us PlayStation 3 game? Why was it so hard for the actual series to follow the game when the roadmap was right there? You had your instruction manual right there. It's like, okay, here's the recipe. Okay, we need a dash of this, a sprinkle of this, 2 cups of this, a tablespoon of this, and a teaspoon of this. That's it. That's it. And then you bake it at 375 for 25 minutes or however long. It shouldn't be that hard. And I guess that's what I'm trying to wrap my head around is why was it so freaking hard to follow the game when the game's the roadmap? It's simple. It really is. It's simple. And they left out things in this series that happened in the first game that are the reason why Joel and Ellie develop an attachment, become a surrogate family. You just don't do that. And another thing, you have some episodes that are over an hour. Some episodes are close to an hour, 50 minutes. And then you have episodes like tonight where the total time of the episode was 43 minutes. And even in I believe it was episode 4 or episode 5, it was only 43 minutes. There's no excuse for that when a show's airing on a streaming service. It's not airing over linear TV. There's absolutely no excuse for these different runtimes for an episode. Decide on a runtime and stick with it. If I'm going to do a game stream, more than likely I'm going to try to keep it to 2 hours unless I'm getting further and further into the game during the stream and I decide to stretch it to 3 hours. Have I ever gone longer than that during a game stream? Yes. Yes, I have. When I was playing Jedi Fallen Order, I actually did an almost 7-hour stream of that game. When I played it over on the Twitch channel. So yes, I have been guilty of doing long streams, but when you have something that's supposed to be engaging for the audience, it's supposed to have this dilemma where your characters are put in this predicament and there's one way out of this predicament, and along the way you're supposed to give the audience members who are actually giving their time to watch this TV show or even a movie, you're supposed to give them a reason to care. And in the live action series of The Last of Us, I don't feel that they adequately gave you a reason to care about Joel, about Ellie. Yes, you find out that Ellie is immune to getting bitten by those who have been infected by this fungus virus. But there's just parts of the game that should have been in there where Joel and Ellie develop, again, this surrogate family, this attachment to one another, where you understand where both of them are coming from and they understand where each other is coming from. Joel's coming from the point of view of someone who's had to survive the last 20 years. And he's seen people that have been close to him, like his daughter Sarah, end up dying even before everything completely went to hell. And along the way, he's seen people and seen them die. He's met people like Tess, and she unfortunately ends up dying. And Joel, he's a broken man, really. But I just, again, I know I keep harping on this, but I'm gonna keep harping on it. How hard is it to follow the game when the game's the roadmap for your live action series? And again, one last time, it's not like you're looking at a 10-foot CGI monster. I don't get it. Now, as far as a rating for this episode, I'm actually going to give it a 7 out of 10. A 7 out of 10 because it did follow the game. It did follow the game pretty closely, in my opinion. But why couldn't all the episodes be like this? Why couldn't all 9 episodes be a thing where you're watching and you're going, yep, that happened in the game, this happened in the game. Okay, they changed that a little bit, but they still kept the core element of what happened in this part of the game that this episode's based on. It shouldn't have been that hard. That's my main gripe with the series, is it shouldn't have been that hard. Well, also my other gripe is, why does Ellie have to drop an F-bomb every other word? And it, I can understand a character dropping an F-bomb if, it's in a situation where even if you were facing it in real life, that's going to be your response to what's going on around you or in front of you. But to have a character say, in every other sentence, F this, F that, oh, I don't know why it's necessary. Yes, I know it's airing on HBO Max, and I know it has a different TV rating, so they feel that they can get away with a few more things. But I'm even seeing it in Star Trek. I saw it in season 1 of Discovery, and of course I've seen it in Picard. And I'm sorry, when it comes to a show like Star Trek, there shouldn't be any F-bombs floating about. There shouldn't. And even in this series, you don't need to have F-bombs coming out of the mouth of a character every few sentences. But like I said, as far as this episode is concerned, I give it a 7 out of 10. And that's mainly because it actually followed the game. I will give credit where credit's due. That Bella Ramsey and Pedro Pascal did a very good job in this episode. And I was entertained by it. And it's sad to see that they can only follow the game so much because they want to expand on something, or they want to change something from the game because they feel it's better. No. Like the saying says, if it's not broken, why fix it? But of course, that's just my opinion. I would be interested to know what anyone else thinks of this episode. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Or, do you not really care because you didn't really care for the game, or you didn't care for the fact that there is a live action series? If you could let me know in the comment section, I would greatly appreciate it. This will wrap up this live reaction and review for The Last of Us. If you like this video or any other video, whether it's PACIFIC414 Pop Talk on Sundays or Wednesdays, or these reviews or the gameplay, please make sure to share out the videos. Make sure you leave a like and even leave a comment. It helps the algorithm. And if you don't like it, go ahead and downvote it. It's not like I haven't gotten those before. And that also helps the algorithm, by the way. So I do want to thank those who did stop by during this live reaction. We had Janet from Another Planet. We also had Phil McCracken. And we also had Brandon Looney Tunes Fan 2000. So thank you all very much. I will be back Monday night at 6 p.m. Eastern. I will be continuing my Mega Man 11 stream, and let's see if I can actually defeat the Wily levels and Dr. Wily himself in the game. So until tomorrow night, this has been Mike. Thank you all very much for watching or listening or lurking. And as always, take care.